DJ was about 4 in this picture. In this picture, he was about maybe 1. Hey y'all, okay, so I got a story time. I got to tell y'all about my son. He's 17 now, about to graduate, and all that. But this is when he was like 6 years old. He was like in the first grade. So, at the time, I was dating this guy who was in jail. So I guess we really wasn't dating because he was locked up. So he had felt the way because he was all like, oh, I can't get your son up for Christmas, blah, blah, blah. So he had set my son up to go to this like program where he could get like all these gifts, and they was having like a big party and all this stuff. And all I had to do was just like take him to this place or whatever. And they was having a big party, and they'd give him like a big bag of gifts. So I'm like, okay. So maybe like a week or so before the party, my son had came to me and was like, Mom, I'm changing my name. Now, man, my son's name is Dejan. So I'm like, okay, what you changing your name to? And he was like, my name is gonna be Ian. So dead ass, like every day, like, our regular routine. I'm dropping him off at school. I'm picking him up. And we would be in the house, and I'm calling him like, Dejan, DJ, or whatever. And he wouldn't answer. So I'm getting up, looking to see where he at. And, he looking out the side of his eye. And I'm like, Dejan, I hear me calling you. And then he's just sitting there. Either he'll be smirking or, like, trying not to look. And I'm like, Ian. And he like, huh? I'm like, boy, stop playing with me. Your name is not Ian. He was like, well, why you just can't call me Ian? This and that. So I'm trying to figure out where he got this name from. He was a typical kid. So he watched like Nickelodeon and Disney and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that's where he got the name from. Nickelodeon, Disney, something like that. So he had an issue at school. Now he had a really sweet teacher. I can't think of her name right now in the first grade. She was a sweet lady. And he had an issue with her because apparently, he in school and, she always was like, Dejan is really nice and respectful. He's a really good guy. But she had been having problems with him this week because he was coming home and he kept having like, it used to be like not a number system, a color system. And he was having like blacks or grays, or it was gray skies or something. But he was like having bad marks. And he used to come home with like greens or purples or whatever, like good marks. And he was having bad marks throughout the week. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is my baby steady having these bad marks? Okay, I think I might have to do a part 2. Okay, so this part 2 to my story. Okay, so he in his classroom and he getting bad marks or whatever. He generally get good marks. So she calls me like, I just really want to talk to you. I don't know what's going on, this and that. So we get to talking. And she like, usually Dejan is so nice and he's so respectful. He's a really good boy and that's this and that. And I'm like, well, exactly, like, what is he doing? Is he doing his work? She's like, yeah, he's doing his work and things. She was like, but, I always use him as a helper because he usually gets done with his work really fast. But he's just like outright ignoring me. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She like, I'm literally calling his name. And I would say, Dejan, can you come clean the board? And she like, these are usually things he enjoys. Or I tell him, he can go into like, it's like a corner they have for like reading or games or whatever. And it was like a reward for the kids. And she like, and he would just put his head down or turn around and stuff like this. So immediately I'm mad because I'm like, that's that damn name. So I explained to her, I was like, okay, well, he, at home has explained to me that he has changed his name to Ian. I'm like, and she was like, oh, okay. She like, well, he didn't explain that to me. And she really liked my son. Like, she always said that he was one of the best in the class and stuff like that. So with that, she seemed kind of like heartbroken, like, oh, I can't believe, he didn't tell me that his name was different or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, he changed his name in the end. She was like, well, all he had to do was tell me. I don't have a problem with calling him Ian. So I'm thinking like, crazy lady. I'm like, his name ain't Ian. His name is Dejan. So he needs to be called. She's like, no, don't worry about it. I'll make sure that I call him Ian, and I'll be sure to let the art teacher and the gym teacher and all these teachers know about this name change. I'm looking at this crazy like, lady, is you crazy? But so she calls him over there and she says, Ian, he gets up because I'm talking on the phone to her, but this is during class. So she calls him, and I can hear him say yes, and he gets up. So she's like, Dejan, well, she's like, Ian, all you had to do was, explain to me what was going on, and I have no problem calling you Ian. He was like, thank you, sounding all sweet or whatever. I'm like, put him on the phone. So she's like, okay. So I'm like, Dejan, do not listen. Do you know he had that lady back there phone? I was like, I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm gonna kick his ass. Okay, I gotta do a part 3. Right here, Dejan is like 4. Here, maybe about 6. Okay, y'all. So, I'm on my first break for work, so I'm gonna try to hurry get through the third part of the story. So he done gave her back the phone, and she done hung up because she thought he was done talking. So by this time, now when I first started the story, I said it was about a week prior. So it might have been about 2 weeks because we didn't got through the whole debacle of him being at home and the name change and being at school. And now we on Christmas break, and it's time to go to this little party or whatever that he has, the guy that I was dating or messing with or whatever, he was in jail, had signed Dejan up for. It was called the Angel Tree Celebration or whatever. So basically he had lied to the jail people and said that my son was his child and that he wanted to give my son Christmas even though he was locked up. So I remember getting a little invitation in the mail. It was really nice, and they had sent like a coupon or a gift card or something for me to go get like a turkey and go get some food and stuff like that. Like when I say this stuff was nice, like they sent money. I had a gift card and like a shopping voucher or something to go get food, right? Um okay, so boom, I went and did that. And then it was like, come this night. It was in the evening. Now the crazy part was it was far away. Like I had to drive almost like an hour to get there. It was like in like the Amish country like type of situation. So I had to drive like almost an hour away. It was an hour away. And it was snowing this night, like kind of bad. Like I remember this. So, I'm kind of scared or whatever because it was like back roads or whatever. So when we finally get there, it was at a church. Um, but when I say we got out the car and you walk into the church, like it was like, walking in there, beautiful. It was like a winter wonderland, like the decor and the Christmas trees and the snow and the lights and oh, it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about it was a once in a lifetime thing. Like when I took Dejan, you know how you see a child's face light up, like type of situation. And I still got those pictures too. I wish I could find them. I'm gonna try to see if I can find them and put them on here or whatever. But Dejan's face lit up like, mommy, and he saw everything, and it was just. So when we first walk in, they have the child because he could read or write his name down on the name tag and put his name on them. So they had told me that not really that I had to leave, but they really wanted to be more of an experience for the child. So I'm telling them like, man, I live an hour away. Like, and plus I don't know if y'all gonna do something to my kid. Like I ain't going nowhere. You got me messed up. Like, okay, so this is gonna be the fourth and final part. I'm on my lunch now. Okay, anyway, so I stay there for a little while. I check out what's going on or whatever. Everything to be on the up and up. I leave. As I'm leaving, I ended up going to like this Denny's that was about 20 minutes out and to a gas station. I talked to the guy I'm dating. I tell him about the whole Ian situation, and we laughing, thinking it's funny or whatever. He said, well, I'm gonna write him a letter and I'm gonna address it to Ian. Okay, cool. So I stay out for a few hours, maybe about an hour and a half. I come back, everything they doing, they wrapping it up, everybody. So when I come in, I see these big like 30, 40 gallon bags that every kid has like at least 2 bags, that they have big robots walking and big trucks. And I see the girls have like doll houses and big dolls and uh kitchen sets and all, so they giving these kids like nice stuff. Like this ain't just cheap little stuff. So I see my son, only my son, in the corner, looking sad, looking depressed, looking crazy. So, of course, immediately I'm feeling away. So, I walk up to him and I'm like, Dejan, what is wrong? He not answering me. He's still ignoring me. He looking down. He's not crying, but he just looking down, like looking all sad. And, his face is red because my baby was real light skinned when he was little. And I'm just like, what is wrong? Like, so he wouldn't talk to me. So I immediately just leave him and I go talk to the lady that seemed to be in charge, the lady with the clipboard. And so I go talk to her and I was like, listen, I'm like, I don't know what happened when I left. I'm like, but he definitely is part of the program, this and that. She was like, well, what's his name again? I'm like, his name is Dejan Johnson. She like, well, yeah, let me look. So he on the list. And she was like, well, we kept asking him and he kept saying his name was in. It's on his name tag, this and this and that. And I said, you asked him and he said his name was Ian. She like, yeah, and we checked with him a few times and we was like, your name's not Dejan. Are you sure your name is not Dejan? We thought we were pronouncing it wrong. We spelled it to him. We asked him if his mom's name was Beatrice. We asked him if his father's name was Lord, was William Miller. And of course he didn't know the guy's nickname was Tank. So he didn't know his real name was William Miller at the time. So he just like, no. And he was like, my mother's name is Beatrice, but my father's name ain't no William Miller. And his actual dad's name was Charles. So he just was on me. So they just like, oh, this can't be the right kid. So the lady was like, well, we're not going to leave any kids behind. We want to give the actual kid this stuff. I said, that's his name. I'm like, he just going through an identity crisis or whatever right now. Like, This was my baby's 5th birthday party. He had a ball. He had Spider-Man and Diego. They were dancing. We had a good time. Okay, so this is legit the last part. So, like I said, I'm trying to explain to the lady, like, no, he is legit going through identity crisis. Like, his name is Dejan. Um, so now I have to walk over to Dejan and convince him to tell the lady his actual name. Because now the lady think that we trying to do a scam, just trying to give free gifts or whatever. And man, we never had to show proof. Like, they never made us like show like birth certificates or none of that type of stuff or any of that. So now she talking to like this other lady and they all talking about contacting the jail and birth certificates and all this. I'm like, oh my God. Because mind you, this is not my son's real father. You feel me? And of course, my son's real father name is on my son's birth certificate. Man, the man last name in jail is Miller. My last name is Smith, and my son's last name was Johnson. So it's just it was just a bunch of shit. So I'm just like, oh my God. So I woke up to Deja. So I said, so this is the first time I just called him Ian. I said, Ian. He looked up. He like, yes, mommy. I wanted to punch him in the face. I said, look, you see all this stuff these kids got? So you see that car? You see that big ass robot? All that. I said, you want that? He said, yeah. I said, what is your name? He like, mommy. I said, do you want the gifts or not? He like, yeah. I said, so just for today, your name is Dejan. After the day, after we leave here with the gifts, you could go back to Ian. I promise you. I'm like, explain to them that, your name Dejan. He said, okay. So he get up, and you know how kids be making you look all like they getting abused and shit. So we get up and we go over there and we talking. So he keep looking up at me like, yes, my name is Dejan. Like we practiced this shit. And that is my real name. And it is not Ian. I'm like, oh my God. So the lady just like, it's fine. Sometimes kids is little. It's probably like an imaginary friend, whatever the lady had made up in her mind. I just feel like these two people had planned this party to the T, and they probably was just over with. Like, if it's a fake kid or some another kid, we just gonna get some more shit and just give it out. So they didn't gave him the gifts, and he happy and smiling, and now he want to play with the stuff. He pushing the car around and this and that. He asking me to turn the robot on and everything. He had a good Christmas that year because, of course, I bought him stuff. His actual daddy bought him stuff. His grandmother, everything. My sister, it was good. But that's it. All right, my fault, y'all. I'm sorry the way that ended so abruptly. But this is a picture of my mom before she passed, of course. And Dejan when he was about maybe 8. No, because my mother passed away when he was about 8. Maybe he was about 7 in this photo. I'm so bad at knowing the age of my son. I'm terrible. But, yeah, this was they used to just get right in the bed with my mother. This is like I said, my nieces, my son, my nephew, and my nieces used to just get right in the bed with my mother. This is her. My mother was in a nursing home for 12 years before she passed away, or was it like 10, 11, 12 years? So they used to just get in bed right with my mother. And I don't even know what they was talking about, but some joke. So my mother was real funny. And y'all remember Time Hop used to be on Facebook? This was off my Facebook page. But thanks for listening. I'm going to have some more story times on my page. But thanks for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, or hit the notification bell, so y'all can get the notification every time I post a video. Thanks for watching. Bye.